The Houston Texans traded out of the first round in the 2025 NFL Draft. So, how do they do with the rest of their selections in day 2 and day 3? My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we are going to break down the Texans 2025 NFL Draft. But before we do that, Ryan's getting married here in a couple of weeks. So, send him an early wedding day present by hitting that subscribe button, tackling that bell, and leaving a like and a comment. Let us know what you think of the Texans draft. And Ryan, that being said, let's pull up the selections here. So, as I said, Texans traded out of the first round going into the second round here. Second pick in the second round got receiver Jayden Higgins out of Iowa State. Followed that up a couple picks later with Aireontae Ersery, offensive tackle from Minnesota, an absolute behemoth of a human being. Then they got Jayden Higgins, running mate Jaylen Noel, receiver out of Iowa State as well. And then Jaylin Smith, cornerback out of USC. Really like the name Jaylen and Jayden here, as we have another one coming up in a second. Then they actually even traded up to go get the running back out of USC, Woody Marks. Then they got Jayden Reed in the 6th round, safety out of Penn State. Then they got quarterback Graham Mertz from Florida. Then they rounded out in the 7th round with defensive tackle Kyonte Hamilton from Rutgers, and then tight end Luke Lachey from Iowa. I would say, all in all, Ryan, I think this is a very solid draft overall. The Texans have made some moves this offseason and definitely trying to get overall offensive line depth. They have a pretty young offensive line as a whole. If you go look at
Yeah.
everybody that they signed, Titus Howard, left guard, they drafted in 2019, but they have 2 guys drafted from 2023, and then even Blake Fisher, who they drafted in 2024. They signed Cam Robinson to be that left tackle, but they also signed a lot of guys to be depth pieces as well. So I do think getting Aireontae Ersery, someone that they can go and develop, Cam Robinson only being on a 1-year deal, I think is going to allow time for Ersery to develop. And so that's where I like that spot. And then, too, when I look at the receiving position as a whole, I really like the additions of Jayden Higgins and Jaylen Noel, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I think that's going to really help out a lot because we don't know Tank Dell's future. Also, too, you did end up losing. Who'd you end up losing? There's somebody else that you lost, I thought. Oh, Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, yeah.
Yeah, the Stephon Diggs. So I think long-term future for skill position players, I think they got some good guys overall with these first couple of picks.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was laughing. We were watching the draft together on day 2, and I was like, I really hope Jayden Higgins falls to the Patriots at 38. And then it's like, as soon as we started talking about it, the Texans took him. And then at pick 69, I was like, I would love for the Patriots to take Jaylen Noel here. And then it was like a few picks later, the Texans took Jaylen Noel. Aireontae Ersery was one of my guys kind of coming into this draft class. I thought he was a really good tackle
Yeah.
coming out. He just had some quirks and maybe some like physical hindrances that I felt like could be worked out. For example, a little bit of lack of flexibility in his hips, but that can be worked on and kind of coached out of him. So those first 3 picks I really like. I think they did a really good job of getting value there. Jaylin Smith, I think that's fine. I don't have a gripe with that one. Woody Marks, I think, is good value. The rest of the picks I think are really good. Luke Lachey, I had a 5th round grade on. He was one of my more likable day 3 tight end prospects. But so getting them there at the end of the 7th round, I think is phenomenal value. So I thought they did a really good job of getting value. The only thing, especially with what they make, what is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 picks. The only thing that I wish they would have done is taken an interior offensive lineman and just maybe add some depth at that position, just because that offensive line was so
Yeah.
bad last year. I wish they would have maybe addressed that, but that's such a small gripe. I feel like for the value that they got, especially at their first like 4 or 5 picks,
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job.
Well, and that's where, and my pushback to that is, in 23, they got Juice Scruggs and Jarrett Patterson, who's now you're slated as your starting center and starting right guard. And then
Yeah,
they do still have Titus Howard, who they're sliding, according to our lad, sliding in as left guard as of right now. And even then, too, you did get Blake Fisher in last year's draft, and he's now slated to be your starting right tackle. Plus, they did so much in free agency, signing Laken Tomlinson, Jerome Carvin, Ed Ingram, and Trent Brown as well, who are all currently backups on the depth chart. I get your point, and I think you're hoping that these younger guys pan
it,
out before you have to
it,
go and do that. But
it's a
it's a
small
fair
gripe.
point. It's a fair
It's
point.
a small gripe in a really good draft class, just because I feel like they needed some depth there. But they had a litany of day 3 picks that I feel like they could have thrown at one of them at it. But with that being said, again, it's a very small gripe.
Yeah.
So I really like the players. I thought they got really good value. I had Aireontae Ersery was my 30th ranked player. They got him at what 48.
Mhm.
Jayden Higgins was a top 30 player for me. They got him in the mid 30s. Jaylen Noel I had in like top 45. And they got him what 79. Like they did a really good job getting value here
Yeah.
in this draft class according to my board. And so for that reason, I'm going to give this draft an A. I think overall, this is one of my more favorite draft classes. They traded back. They got more picks next year as well. I believe from this, they got more picks next year from the Laramie Tunsil trade. So I I think it'd be really hard to complain if I were a Texans fan. The only thing I would have liked was maybe a little bit more attention to the interior offensive line, but I think that's a small gripe considering what you said. They did make a lot of moves there in the offseason to maybe fill in some of that depth, and they've put previous draft classes in there as well.
Yeah, yeah. I would need to go back and look. I know they traded away a third round pick, I believe, for Woody Marks to move up. I could be wrong on that. But that being said, though, too, they also have a bunch of other draft capital as well that they have acquired over the past couple of weeks just from training, just from trades. I'm trying to look this up here now. Is this updated? I'm looking at this corner. No, it's from June 19th, 2024. So that's not true. So leave a comment down below just on the exact draft compensation that was traded for the Texans. To your point, though, they traded back a lot, and they got a lot of
Yeah,
picks, I think, for this draft, trading back from the Giants. But they're also moved around a bunch, also as well. So, or actually, this might be it. Here we go. Yeah. So to your point, yeah, they have a second rounder from Washington as well. Then you're right. Then they got a third rounder from next year. They traded away
yeah,
one of their third rounders. Yes. Um,
okay,
well, I don't think that's updated yet, but I'm pretty sure they traded away one of their third rounders for in day 3 today. So, but they still have a lot of movement overall, and they have several top 100 picks going into next year because of all the trades. So, to your
yeah.
point, that's still fair.
Yeah, like I think they do a really good job of managing their assets. So yeah, I give them an A. I think this is one of the top draft classes out there so far.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go ahead. Let's wrap up this video here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on what you thought of the Houston Texans 2025 draft class. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you have done differently? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.